We're here to make a new type of news.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Making news just for you. It's March 19th here in Seoul. I'm Shin Yoon, and you're watching News Generation. Joining me in the studio is Chiji.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday, and Park Ki-hoon.
Thanks for having me.
Good morning. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. As usual, let's start with our news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items that have been trending on social media over the past 24 hours. K-pop girl group New Jeans won recognition for its music video, ETA, at Asia's prestigious Creative Communication Award ceremony, Spikes Asia. The group's 2023 single received a lot of buzz after it was reported that the whole production was shot on an iPhone 14 Pro. The group won a bronze award for the video. This year's Spike Asia had a total of 24 countries and regions participate, with over 3,200 pieces of content in the competition. And over in Russia, President Vladimir Putin made his first comments addressing his longtime political foe Alexei Navalny's death. Putin said early Monday that he had supported an idea to release Navalny in a prisoner exchange just days before he died. Navalny, best known as Russia's opposition politician, died last month while serving a 19-year sentence on extremism charges that he rejected as politically motivated. His allies, family members, and Western officials blamed the death on the Kremlin, accusations it has rejected. And Putin's remarks came at a late-night news conference when results poured in from the Russian presidential election. As widely anticipated, President Vladimir Putin won his fifth term as the country's leader. Though the vote counting is still in process, exit polls show that an overwhelming number of voters picked Putin. Now on the verge of winning yet another presidential election, Putin on Sunday called on Russia to become stronger and more effective. Now, Putin's win makes him the longest-serving leader since Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin. Putin will remain in office until at least 2030, and Russian presidential elections were held every 4 years until the law was changed in 2008 to extend the term to 6 years, while more constitutional changes in 2020 removed presidential term limits. And experts are paying close attention to the latest political trend of voters seemingly wanting strong men or dictatorial leadership back. Experts namely pointed to the possible re-election of former U.S. President Donald Trump in the upcoming U.S. November elections. They also referred to how Xi Jinping succeeded in maintaining his status as the Chinese Communist Party's leader 3 consecutive times last year. And I'd like to ask our panelists if you guys agree that we're seeing more of the public looking for a strong-headed and even dictator type of leader in politics.
Yes, I do agree, partly. And I think polarization in the political arena is becoming more evident, and the divide between, democratic and autocratic country is also widening as well. And as we see with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping, I think Putin is also following suit in his long-term dictatorship. And surprisingly, they are getting a lot of support, even from the young generation as well. And it's becoming stronger and stronger. And even in the US, polls have shown that Trump has slightly more support than Biden right now, but we'll see what happens in the November election. But I think it's perhaps people, they want a leader who is only willing to listen to their views and their views only, not so much the other person as like the previous leaders who were kind of like peacemakers, listening to both sides. And I think this is definitely a new wave of people's preference of their type of leadership that they want. And I think power is something that everyone wants, including ourselves. And I think that's why they want to see powerful leaders who want more power over a long time. And it only makes sense that, people are supporting these kind of leaders.
I see. So if there's a spectrum as to wanting a docile leader compared to a very authoritarian one, we're seeing more people tilt towards the latter because I think people want to see results, right?
That's right. And I mean, we all know that the simple definition, and this is also according to experts as well, dictatorship is when there's no turnover in the executive's power, then it's a dictatorship, excuse me.
It's fine.
Yes, and despite the prevalence of democracies, we're seeing a lot of individuals
I can see you're very passionate about this topic.
Or being drawn to these neo-authoritarian leaders. And I remember learning back in history or politics class back in university, there was a 17th century philosopher who talked about the Leviathan, who's a very monstrous and a figure with unlimited authority. And he explains that the world needs a Leviathan, a figure like this, in order to preserve peace. And we're seeing leaders like these on the rise, including Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping and Mohammed bin Salman, and the list goes on. And I think the uncertainty and the deep fear that people have about the future, socially, economically, and environmentally, is what is wanting them, is why the public is wanting to see more figures like these. They want strong figures who can really guide them and who they can depend on during these times.
That's a very fascinating analysis. I think we could be perceiving this as like a catharsis. Because we're living in such economically uncertain times and we don't know where we're going, we would rather want an authoritative leader lead the way. Now let's switch gears to our main discussion topic now. You may have heard the word SINK or DINK, and they're acronyms referring to single income, no kids, or double income, no kids. Now there's a very similar word that also comes from DINK, and it's DINKWAD. My AI voice secretary will tell you a bit more about what it is.
DINKWAD, double income, no kids, with a dog. It's the latest lifestyle trend led by many millennials and Gen Z. You don't want to be tied down to a child, but would rather a cuddly companion. In Korea, we have a similar term. It's called 딩펫족에. It's basically the same as DINKWAD, but refers to those with not just a pet dog but any pet animal. With 1 out of 4 Koreans having pets, we're seeing more 딩펫tribes. But the way people perceive this group varies.
DINKPET or DINKWAD, we're seeing acronyms like this go viral as more young people are choosing to live with their pets rather than raise a child. And we're going to analyze this global trend by first looking at the number of DINKWADs in Korea. Ji-hee, walk us through.
Right, so a recent study conducted on the online sales of dog strollers and baby strollers indicates the increasing number of people who are opting for dogs over having children. Now, this group is commonly referred to as DINKWADs or dinks with a dog. So let's take a look at the screen to find out the current trend. As per a popular online shopping mall in Korea, the sales of dog strollers surpassed the sales of baby strollers in 2023. That's last year. For every 4 baby strollers sold, 6 dog strollers were purchased. So this trend highlights the growing number of dog owners and the decreasing number of people having children, which is also indicative of the low birth rate in our country.
And Kyun, did you ever realize this while you were going to the supermarket?
Yes, I kind of did, you know. I think this social behavior directly illustrates how young Koreans have changed over a few decades. And as we all know, as of 2022, South Korea ranks the lowest in the fertility rate at 0.78. On the contrary, just like what Ji mentioned, the number of pet owners have continuously increased from year 2021, according to a report by the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. So now, 4 in 1 households are pet owners of either dogs, taking up 19%, or cats, taking up 7.1%. So obviously, as a result, we are seeing the pet industry expand bigger and bigger, while we're seeing the baby product industry, becoming smaller and smaller. Hence, there have been cases in supermarkets where diaper corners have been replaced by pet food corners. And so we can see that there's a clear trend here in Korea of seeing more parents of animals rather than children.
Just to share a small anecdote, I remember I have a dog stroller as well because I have 2 puppies. And I was going around the park with the dog stroller and this grandmother came up to me and she looked inside and she was like, "These are such beautiful babies," and she got shocked because she thought they would be 2 infants, but it happened to be dogs. And then she gave me a lecture on how I should be having children rather than pets, and this was 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But nowadays, once I take out my dog stroller and go on a walk with my dogs, a lot of people already know that it's a dog stroller. So I do think that we are seeing such a trend, but why exactly? And how are people perceiving them nowadays? How are people perceiving people like me, single income with 2 dogs, but how are people perceiving that?
Well, the millennials and Gen Zs are opting not to have children and instead owning pets due to various reasons, really, such as the financial burden of raising a child and the rising cost of living, as well as simply the changing lifestyle choices of individuals. However, despite this, humans naturally have the desire or tendency to really form their own family and provide care and feel protected and secure in their own family. And so it's not only couples without kids that are adopting pets, but also MZers who choose not to get married and live alone are also increasingly turning to pets for companionship.
Exactly.
And we call them 딩펫족에 in Korean, who are adopting pets as a way to combat the loneliness of living alone and also, once again, providing companionship. And in any case, regarding perception, individuals who choose to live their lives in a certain way, they really need to be respected for moving away from this traditional form of a family structure. They should be respected, understood of their personal choices. And MZers, they don't want to be stigmatized or judged for not having children and just having pets. And they want society to really recognize and embrace them for their choices.
Definitely. Kyun, your thoughts?
Right, and as much as we want to be respected, there is a big difference in perspective between the older generation and the younger generation when it comes to taking care of our pets. Of course, the main reason would be the low birth rate. So the older generation finds it very hard to understand the young generation not having kids to start off with, and like raising pets like their own children and like going a little overboard at times. So with the increase in pet owners, obviously we have seen more people upload their companions on social media. And of course, when you upload things on social media, you want to look beautiful, handsome, or good looking, whatever it is. You just want the attention. So I've seen many feeds with pets wearing like luxury brand clothes. And some owners send them to dog kindergartens. And they even take out insurance for them, which I think is a little too much at times because I'll rather spend, me not being a pet owner, and I have nothing against people who own pets and spend money on them. I'd rather spend it on myself, invest in myself, so I can later have a family with a pet.
No, that's understandable.
Yeah, that's my take on this.
Exactly, especially since you're not a pet owner yourself, but I know you are. So what do you think about this growing DINKWAD lifestyle?
Well, I really believe that having no children or having children or having pets is a personal choice. And as a dog owner myself, I'm willing to spend up to 20% of my salary on my furry friend. And my dog is quite old, so I want to do everything for her really before she, is not next to me anymore. And to me, my dog is really a part of my family, and I never consider the money spent on her as a waste. And I've observed that many people of my generation also share the same sentiment and are willing to spare no expense when it comes to their dogs, whether it's buying luxury brand clothes like Hee-hoon mentioned, necessary supplies, high quality food and health supplements, or even paying for the hospital fees as well. They do not hesitate to invest in their pet's well-being. In fact, I've bought a proper grooming kit for my dog, a dog bathtub, and I've also subscribed to health supplements for my dog because she coughs a lot. And like you said, Yeon, I also own a dog stroller myself as well. And raising a puppy may not require as much expense as raising a child, as they don't really need formal education as well. However, they do require some training and may even attend dog kindergartens like Kyun mentioned, which still do require some cost, but these days they're not willing to save money. I mean, they're willing to spend a lot on their dogs and pets.
And the videos that you're seeing right now are actually some clips of Chitty and also some dogs from our News Gen panelists. And Kyun, though you may not be a pet owner, how do you perceive this type of, I guess, affection that we have for our pets? And she said she's willing to spend 20%. What do you think about that?
Just looking at those clips and pictures, next time, if I were to be born again, I'd rather be born a dog than a human. Anyway, because I'm not a pet owner, I find it a little difficult to see some people how they communicate with their pets and treat them like real children. Like they seem to understand everything their pets are doing. But when I'm looking at them, I'm like, I don't understand what they're doing. But they're like, you don't understand, they're saying this and that. And they have this emotional attachment to their pets. I would like to have this kind of experience, but because I don't have this kind of experience, I cannot really fully converse with the people who are fully into their pets and treat them like real children. But, like I said, the money that I don't invest in pets, I would invest in myself. So I can build a better future, perhaps get married, have a family of my own, and plus have pets as well. Because I've seen many of my friends, they have a kid and they have a cat as well. And like growing up as a kid with pets around, I mean, it's really good for their emotions as well, growing up as well. And I think I saw the real benefits of actually having a baby and a pet in one household. So yeah, in that sense, maybe in the future, I'll probably have a pet as well.
And I think everyone is entitled to their own opinion, because if you don't have a pet, I completely understand why people might think it's a little excessive that we're spending a lot of money and raising pets as our child. And this is a discussion topic that has so many surrounding arguments, which is exactly why we asked our viewers the same question as to what they think about this growing DINKWAD trend. Take a look at the screen to find out what 3 of them had to share with us. Let's start with Leon. Leon said DINKWAD individuals or couples often enjoy financial freedom due to having 2 incomes without the expenses of raising children. So they choose to have a pet instead, as it can provide companionship, joy, and the sense of fulfillment without the full-time commitment of parenting. Benny said, DINKWAD for me, it depends on how you and your partner work it out if you don't have kids yet. However, the cost would be quite difficult to buy food and vitamins as well. Gioe said, pets offer companionship to people, so I would think people are willing to spend money on their pets regardless of the cost. And we're now going to turn to an actual DINK pet millennial to add more weight to our discussion. Stay tuned for our live interview. We're now going to talk to a DINKWAD, someone from a double-income household with a cat. It's Sila Moon. Welcome, Sila. Hello.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
Wow.
So that you are definitely a DINKWAD with a cat. When and why did you decide to become one, though?
First thing, it's as simple as it gets, but my partner and I, my husband and I both were never really into kids. So that was the very first reason. And number 2 is, this is a little bit more serious, but I'm not sure if you have heard of it, but my mother's side of the family has a condition that's called a uterine prolapse, which means the pelvic muscles that hold up your uterus actually gets weak, especially after birth. And it makes the muscles weak, and so the uterus pushes down as the gravity takes a toll on your body as you do your normal daily activity. So basically, my mom can't walk outside for more than 10 minutes without having to sit down. So that was definitely a major issue for me. And last but not least, my partner and I have a similar temperament. So we're the type who resist change. We like to be where we are, content. So we just knew that for us, we don't really need a baby in our lives for us to, keep going the relationship.
Right. Well, although the reasons may be different, many people are opting to have pets instead of children. But do you think pet animals can really fill the void of raising a child?
I think this ultimately depends on the person, because the fundamental reason why you would want to have pets or children may differ depending on the person. But for me and my partner, we just wanted a being for us to care for. We are very affectionate people that needs to give the care. It doesn't need to be a human being. But I know that for certain people, they think about pets as a replacement to potential children that they could have had, because they want that company. But essentially, that's very different than something that could be filled by a children, because you don't leave behind a legacy. You don't leave behind your genes like many people would with children. So you have to think about what you essentially want.
Right.
So what do you think about the way people perceive DINKWADs or DINK pet, people like yourself? How do you hope to see certain perspectives change moving forward?
Well, I receive a lot of comments saying that you will regret it later. And if I say I'm 100% sure that I'm fine the way I am, it's because you haven't held your own baby. like it's because you don't know what it is like. But I wish they would be able to respect my opinions because it comes from a deep thought. And even if I come to regret it later on in my life, that is my full responsibility. So I wish there is a more of a Korean culture that developed to respect the younger generation's opinion on having children.
Exactly. And Sila, thank you so much. I do think you mentioned a great point. Everyone might have different reasons as to why they've decided to go dink pet rather than raise their own children. And I think it takes a lot of courage for you to be opening up your story today with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and ending off, I would like to see where the dink pet trends go. As we asked Sila just now, how would you guys like to people view this growing trending lifestyle among millennials and Gen Z?
Well, of course, I really want people to respect this sort of new demographic change a lot more. And at the same time, I want society to do deeper research into this because unlike Sayla, who has concrete reasons why she's being a DINKWAD, many people are inevitably choosing to become a DINKWAD or DINKWAD. And I myself, I don't want to become a DINK or a DINKWAD. Instead, I'd like my children and pets as well. So in order to create a society like that, we really need to look into these changes a lot more and make sure that people aren't just opting this option because of their circumstances.
That's a great point. Rather than just stigmatizing the type of decisions people make or just classifying them, I do think deeper analysis is needed. What about you, Gyun?
Everything comes with responsibility, and I know most pet owners they create the most adequate environment for their pets, but at the same time we are seeing an increasing number of abandoned dogs and mistreatment of animals. So I think there needs to be stronger animal laws that better protect not only just the animals but put legal responsibilities on owners as well to create a healthy these kind of DINKWAD environment. And at the end of the day, animals are just living creatures just like us, and I think we should treat them the same way we want to be treated by them as well.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, they're a being too.
They are.
All right, now in the meantime, we'll be here every day from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Korea time, bringing you more topics young people are talking about. Special thanks to Choi Ji-hee.
Thank you.
And Park Ki-hoon.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. We are News Generation.